Hey everybody, it's me, the Nitty Gritty Yarn Girl. It is Monday night and this is Twisted Stitches. Wow, we're really happy you're here. We almost weren't here. And then I realized, wait a minute, I didn't click the go live button again. But we are live and I am so excited to have MARCI MARRA here with me. Welcome, MARCI. Thanks for coming to Nitty Gritty Yarn Girl.
Thank you. Thanks for the second welcome since we did this once as a dress rehearsal. I'm really happy to be here tonight. It's an honor to be asked. So thank you.
Oh, thank you. Well, we enjoy meeting lots of different designers and sharing your stories with our fans. And we were so impressed when we were out at H&H this year back in June, and we saw the Imagine poncho that we just had to learn more about it and more about you. So we're really thrilled that you're here. It's going to take us a couple of minutes to say hello to our fans. So bear with me because we love to recognize everyone. So we've got with us Jillian Goldrich and Robbie McCarthy, Donna Nahalo. Oh, good, Donna. Donna's all excited for tonight. So are we. Darren, hello from the Cape. Darren, I want to see you designing something in the very near future. I'm looking to see that. Darren has a design idea or request. Debbie Andretta, hello from Central Pennsylvania. Jackie Vandenberg, just imagine, she said. Beth Ann Wilkes from Minnesota. Hi, Renee from Dallas. We are both yarning and watching. Very cool color work. Yep, yep. Linda Witt Sims. Hi, Linda. I'm glad you enjoyed your first New York Sheep and Wool Festival. Hi, Pam. Pam is the lady who knitted your Imagine poncho here. Donna Masung is with us, and Anna Maria Milani, and Tina Yakovo. Wow, Candace Wise, Patricia Hickey. Thank you so much, everybody, for joining us. I know there will be more coming on. Hey, everybody, it's me, the Nitty Gritty Yarn Boy. That would be Paul. Paul just can't stay away, even when he is away. And Gloria Hamelthes is with us. Jamie Marcial. And so we are going to get right in. I will recognize people as we can during the show, and then we'll have you asking your questions. Please feel free to put your questions in the comment bar, and I will ask them to MARCI as we go along. So MARCI, tell us about MARCI getting involved in design work.
So I think a lot of people that see my work think that I've been doing this for a long time. So November will be my 1-year anniversary from the first pattern that I produced. I started knitting about 7 years ago. I'm a longtime crafter. I've done all kinds of things. Knitting always seemed really hard and honestly really slow. So it just took a special place in my life. And I really started buying patterns and looking at things, and I started thinking about what would I want to wear. And that's when I really decided I should just try to make a pattern. And so I made a hat pattern, something pretty simple, and started really thinking about construction and design, and honestly, a little bit of like what you see here, pandemic, working from home, you're on video a lot, like what really shows up well, what looks good, what's comfortable, who knows, I could have sweats on underneath here, and things that were
I'm
what I
not going
felt
to
were
ask you to stand.
no, I am dressed though. Things that were modern and fun that you could put on and feel proud of the work. Like if somebody knitted it, to be able to say, I made this, and to have people think that it came from a store. So it's like a little bit of that catch, right? Like we'd love to show the stuff that we've made by hand, but we don't want somebody to go, oh, did you just craft that? Like,
Yes, yes. Well, you have a very unique look to your work, to your design work. And so yes, just a year into this, but as we were talking about before, I told MARCI, well, you jumped right off the cliff when you decided to get into design work, because look at what you're doing less than a year later. And so to all of us who are not designers, I say, wow. And a designer might say, well, it's not that hard, but to us, it's very impressive and it's lovely.
well, thank you. It's been a lot of fun. It's been a really interesting journey and a really welcoming one from the knitting community. I will say that I had a really, really special help. I feel like I was discovered by Jen, who works at Signature Needles. And if you've bought Signature Needles, you know how amazing those needles are. And she saw my work on Instagram and we started talking. She made introductions for me. It's how I met Deidre from Keenan Hand Dyed Yarns, which gave me the opportunity to have something at H&H, which is how you saw my
Right.
piece. And so it's like those little acts of kindness turn into this huge like mountain of things that people have just been kind enough to say, hey, that's a really unique piece of work. Have you talked to so-and-so, or do you want to have this opportunity? And so
Right.
really, really grateful. And then obviously grateful for your customer who reached out to me on Ravelry and said, hey, I saw this knitted up in the store. And then you and I get connected. So just exciting to see such a warm and friendly community.
Well, it is a great community. I find that the fiber arts community is really very, I I hate to use a cliche, but I think I will, close knit. I mean, we just are. As I'm thinking about saying, I'm like, "Oh, that's just really going to sound corny. It's going to sound like Paul said it instead of me." But we're a close knit group, and we recently did a fundraiser here and for owners of a yarn shop that used to be in town that closed, and they were in an automobile accident, and we did a fundraiser here to help defray some of their costs. And
Hmm.
the whole community, the local community came together, but then did so many of our online community join us. So it's a very, very welcoming community. So we've got a couple more people: Nancy Parks and Marianne Murray Summers, Lila Foster, Gloria Hamilthis. Lila Foster says, "Oh wow, that's wow is correct." And we have Nancy Parks is asking, "What sort of work were you doing before? In addition to crafts, did your job provide you with skills for your design work?"
No, my job did not provide me skills for my design work. So my career was as a management consultant. So working with organizations to look at their organizational effectiveness, coaching executives on how to be better leaders. So honestly, absolutely nothing to do with this, although at a really stressful point in my career, um, traveling and doing a lot of things for clients is when I made the decision to start to knit. And it really grounded me and created this therapeutic place for me. And I've talked to other executives about knitting and crafting and other things. But honestly, I went to art school what feels like 100 years ago at this point. Um, Things are very different now. And I sculpt, I weld, I make jewelry, I paint. So the whole design piece isn't completely foreign. It was just very foreign to be able to do it with knitting.
Uh-huh. Oh, okay. Well, that's very interesting. You can kind of a crossover there with in the whole art community. So that's really very interesting that you have that background in art, not in um not from the corporate world. So
Yeah, my college education hasn't made a lot of sense. There's been like these peak moments. For those of you that are old enough to remember before we really had the internet, this whole like, why did she go to art school? And then the emerging internet. And I was like, oh, I knew color theory better than anybody and could figure out how to do all of these things and built some web pages. And I was like, oh, finally, it makes a little bit of sense. And so it keeps coming back around, which has been helpful.
very good, very interesting, very interesting. So tell us about Imagine. How did the design come about?
So Imagine started from a photo. I took a photo in Central Park. I was there in May of 22 for work. A group of us went out for the evening, and in Central Park, there's a place, Strawberry Fields. In Strawberry Fields, there's a mosaic called Imagine. It's a tribute to John Lennon. I took a picture. I thought it was really interesting and beautiful, and didn't look at the picture until really January of this year, and I was scrolling through a bunch of old pictures, and I thought, well, wouldn't that make an amazing sweater? And so I started moving pictures out of my folder and saying, I'm going to make sweaters out of these things. And so in January, I started working on designing it. And this is when I started to figure out how hard it actually was. So I started working. I had done some lace and some cable work, but I hadn't done color work. And so really thinking about the color work and where do you add the increases and how do you create the shape? It took me until March before I started to knit it.
Wow.
So it was definitely a labor of love. I was determined because I could see what I wanted it to be. And once I picked up the needles, I started to knit. I think I got to about here and it was all working. And it was like, it's one of the rare times. Typically I knit, I tear things apart, I adjust patterns, and I go over and over and over again. This one just came together. And that was when I posted a picture of this partial thing on a mannequin that created actually quite a bit of buzz, which was what I needed to push me forward. Because it was originally a sweater, and now there are versions. But I was so fearful of how to do sizing and how would the sleeves work, that when I got connected to Deidre and we started talking about H&H, I was like, how about a poncho? Like, let's remove the sleeves, and the sizing is kind of freaking me out. I got a lot of education since then,
Yeah,
and been
yeah.
able to do the sizing. But that's really how it came about. It was a photo. And now everywhere I travel, I take photos and mark them up, notes to myself, like, this is a sweater, this is a hat, these things are going to get combined. So a lot of things come from architecture and from nature.
Uh-huh. That's great. And so you, before I forget, I don't want to leave and say, oh no, I didn't tell them where they can find you. So your patterns are on Ravelry, correct?
They are on Ravelry. If you search on my name, Marci Marra, you'll get them.
Okay, right. Because I did see that you have other things besides your Imagine Poncho, even though you are newer to the design part of this of the craft. You've been pretty busy.
I've been pretty busy. I have 25, 27 patterns.
Okay.
If you go to my website, marcimarra.com, you'll see sneak peeks of patterns that haven't been released yet. So
Uh-huh.
I'm getting ready to start releasing pieces from the next collection, which is called Hip to Be Square. And so there's a few pictures on my website.
Cool. That's excellent. I love that phrase. So Cindy Kelly is asking, did you do knitwear design full time now?
I retired in the middle of July. And so now this is my full-time opportunity to play and have fun with yarn, it's an amazing opportunity.
Excellent. So now when we look at Imagine, there are so many opportunities color wise. We saw the black and white, and of course Pam's like, oh, we got to knit this one. So yeah, the needle, if we'd have had yarn with us, she would have started knitting it right then and there. It was, she was so excited to get that on her needles, and she really did enjoy. Now we did the regular, the crew, or the is that called, a crew neck or a scoop
Crew neck.
A crew neck, right? So we did that version here. You've got the turtleneck on, which is really very lovely. One of my customers is knitting the turtleneck as well. And so watching that come together is very interesting, very, very pretty. But tell us about color and Imagine.
Yeah, so I started in black and white. I think it's really easy to envision things in black and white. And then once because the design has to be perfect when it's black and white. And then after that, you can swap out any kind of color. So obviously behind me, you'll see a black and white one. This is, I'm not sure you can see it as well on camera. It's lime green and a really, really dark teal. It's lovely in person. This is tan and black. Move this in here for a second. This is dark green and cream. And then you have navy and gray in the background.
Right.
But it really lends itself to any colors that have enough contrast, as long as there's good contrast.
Look how pretty that navy and gray look. So pretty. That looks really pretty on camera, huh? The colors show up very nicely.
They do show up really nicely.
Very, very nicely. So these kits are, we actually put together kits on our website for the hat and cowl, which take one ball of each color, and it's a sock weight yarn that we're using, and we're offering it with 2 different yarns right now. I'm waiting for the art yarns colors to come in. So there's the Gridifra that's knitted in Gridifra Lana Mia Uni, which is a fingering weight 390 meters, over 400 yards on here as well. So, and what we're asking you to do is just pick your 2 colors rather than, you know, having kits in specific color blocks, asking you to pick your colors. You want tan and black, you want red and navy, whatever it is you want, you put in there. We have all the colors that we have offered that are available in that in the listings. So if that's what you're, you know, if you want to order the kits, that's the way to do it. And we're waiting for art yarns to come in. And speaking of colors, I just think these colors are fabulous. This tan and the chocolate, and then this. So you have to let your imagination, whoops, run a little bit with the on these, I would think. What do you think, Marcy?
I think anything as long as there's enough contrast. And I say that because contrast is obviously key to being able to see the design. And so if you're not sure if you have enough contrast, easy way to look at contrast, take a picture, use a black and white filter. If you can see it when it's black and white, you'll have enough contrast. Sometimes things in person look like there's enough contrast if you have really good light, and then you take it away and it doesn't. So that's just a trick that I use if I have things in question. I've seen the Imagine done in a really pale lilac and purple. That was a beautiful pairing. We had to make sure that there was enough contrast because the colors were similar, but it really turned out beautiful.
So Nancy is saying even a multicolored would work as one of the choices, especially with black as a main color.
Yep, black or white as a main color. I've seen very, very multicolored yarn. There's somebody that dyes yarn that has 52 different colors in it, and he did kits with white or with black, and they've turned out really nice.
Yep, yep. And so now let's talk about tonals.
Tonals are great if you use one tonal. 2 tonals together can be a little challenging. You can't always control where the tonals are going to show up in the pattern. You lose a little bit of the contrast. But if you do a true solid and a tonal, beautiful.
So if we did something like these 2, that would work okay.
That would work really nice.
And even though the light blue is tonal, it's more solid. You know, it's very, very, very muted. The tonals are very muted in there, where this has definite contrast of colors in it.
Yeah, if you have yarn that you were going to use for like assigned pooling or things that have definite specs, I think it's really distracting from the pattern, and you'll go to a lot of work and you won't get the visual impact of the design.
I agree. I definitely agree. I love it as it's you know, in that black and white, you know, just the pure reverse, and it keeps it nice and clean and neat. And that's one of the things that attracted me to it was the crispness of the design in the bright colors and those contrasting colors. And I'm a big fan of contrasting, so you know, and bright colors too. So
when I was thinking about this, I was thinking about corporate too. Like, what can I knit and wear into a corporate meeting or and not have it look like I just grabbed a sweater because I was cold, like really something intentional. And actually this one with the short sleeves, I'll throw on like a pink blazer on the top of it with a black leather skirt. And it's like, it's a very polished look.
Yeah.
And we just don't always see that from knitwear. Like, I know I have some pieces that I've made for myself that are beautiful cable work, and in person they're lovely, but they don't have that same kind of polish that you need sometimes for work or other events.
Yeah, and we have such a broad spectrum of fan base who are stay-at-home moms and corporate people, and then retired. And so, you know, it's just a whole conglomerate. So I think that the one common thread between all of them is they all love their knitting and crocheting, and they just all they want to show it when they finish it. If I finish a project, the first thing I want to do is wear it.
Uh-huh.
Or I should say, when I finish a project, I just want to wear it. Where are we going? I want to wear this tonight. And so I grab something. And unfortunately for me, I always have to come to the store to get it because it's usually here on display somewhere. But that's it. So does anyone else have any other questions? Any questions for Marcy? While we're waiting to see if they do. So tell us a little bit, or can you tell us a little bit about Hip to Be Square?
I can show you a hat. I can show you the hat. So, and this is, I'm not sure it shows up. It's actually eggplant and lime green. So again, the example of bright color. This is special because I've been playing with a way to cast on with the two colors to give it a bit of a twist there. So this will be the next collection. There's a sleeveless sweater that, if you follow me on Instagram, I did wear it in Rome. The whole thing, you finish things, you got to try them out. There will be a cowl, a poncho, and a sweater.
And
so the hat will be released on November 6th. And then each week after that, pieces will be released.
wow. Pretty soon we're going to see a book published with all your collections, with your collections as you grow them. Hey, nothing wrong with that. You know, your design work is so unique that it's nice to see something. It's fresh without being outlandish. You know, I think I love the idea that they're different without being way crazy. So Nancy Parks is saying, please design more pieces that can be worn in warm weather. Where I live, the sweater weather season is very short. So well, I think it's got more to do with the yarns that we use too, right?
Yes. So this is because it's fingering,
buffering.
it's pretty light. I actually did a version of it in linen too, so very light. But I also have one that doesn't have sleeves. So crew neck, sleeveless. It was great in the summer. I'll end up wearing it over a shirt as a vest because we don't have a lot of warm weather in the Pacific Northwest.
So where she doesn't have a lot of cold weather, you don't have a lot of warm.
Yeah, and it's really the weight of the yarn for some of these. But right. I am trying to think about, like, you know, long sleeves, worsted weight, no sleeves, you know, really lightweight.
Yep. And there are some yarns of, for example, Silky Twist by Art Yarns it's a silk and wool blend, and you know, that is definitely a 3-season sweater. You know, it's gorgeous. Actually, you can wear it year round because it's so light and lightweight, yet it will keep you warm in the cool weather. So I think it depends on fiber content more so than well, unless bulky, of course. I don't see you don't knit too much you don't design too much with bulky, do you?
No, I mean, this hat is in worsted.
Okay.
I've had some asks for some worsted. So hats and cowls will be in worsted. It's super easy to convert them to different yarn. That's the other thing. All of these designs and the 2 other collections that are coming are all done in repeat patterns. So to be able to make a pattern bigger or smaller to adjust for yarn, like do a swatch and look at it. If you can't figure it out, I can help you, but the patterns are really easy because they're so modular. And I did that intentionally. I didn't want to do 20 sizes. I think it's really hard, honestly, on a designer to pay a tech editor to do that many sizes when you're working through that. But if you make pieces that are really easy for people to adjust themselves, it gives us the freedom to create what fits us.
Right, exactly. So Marty Hobson said your designs are very classy, which I agree. And Donna Hollow is asking, does the pattern give you options for the neck styles?
Yep, turtleneck or crew neck. Yep. Recognize that not everybody likes this. I love turtlenecks because on camera, once you get to a certain age, it's lovely not to see my neck.
Yeah.
Um, but for other weather, to make them without, like the poncho that is behind.
Paula. Yeah.
Yeah, I was just going to say, can you bring yours forward a little bit, Paula? That's beautiful like that, and that gives a nice example. It's hard to see with the black
Yeah. But it's a
mannequin.
true. Yep.
But I
So,
am trying to do both necks for most things so that people can choose.
and the turtleneck in your designs really is unique. It's not just a black or a white, or it's not a solid. And I like that it doesn't fold over. Just kind of almost it's a soft turtleneck. It doesn't, it's like,
It's not super tight. Yeah, it does not fold over. The two colors kind of give it some body, but it's more than a mock. I'm not a
right,
fan of the
right.
mock.
Nancy Robertson, hi Nancy, is telling us she's late to the show and loves the designs are gorgeous. I can't wait to make one for myself. I know, I think we all feel that way. Tina is asking, have you designed anything for kids?
I'm laughing because I'm a new grandma.
Oh,
And
congratulations.
I was very ambitious before her granddaughter was born, and made an Afghan and made a little cashmere hat. And now I just have things in my queue. So I am going to make her a little tiny Imagine poncho. So, but I am going to start producing some children's things.
Well, we would love to see an Imagine poncho for kids one day. I mean, that's really just a joy. Can you imagine going to first day of school in that? So Judy McLean has an interesting comment. She says, is that a funnel neck?
I guess it could be called a funnel
I
neck.
guess. I don't know. I'm thinking. No, I sometimes feel like a funnel neck is even higher.
I feel like that they're a little bit. You could make it one though, if that's what you wanted. So that's again the repeat. Like this is 30 rows. By adding more rows to it, you'd
Yeah,
create.
I think she's just trying to come up with the terminology for the type of neck, for the type of neckline it is. We're just also helpful to each other. But yeah, so Donna says Donna's doing a little head plant, a head. What is that called? A head plant? That little thing. That's probably for all the things in your queue now that that you haven't finished for your after your granddaughter got here. How old is she now?
She was born May 2nd, so
Oh,
she's
so
still
she's brand new.
yeah.
Yep, as my husband says, she's still under warranty. Oh, it's a face palm. Thank you, Nancy. See, I'm telling you, our fans are very helpful. So yeah, we are going to keep looking for more and more from you. I'm sure there are going to be a lot, and I am thrilled to hear that you are going to be at H&H this coming year in May. So I can't wait to literally meet you in person and get to spend a little bit of time with you and learn more about you. Oh, the face plant was, oh, I see. The face palm was for Paul's comment because he said, imagine that. But I was waiting for it all night, believe me. I was waiting for it. So, oh, look at this. Jackie Vandenberg is saying, I can see a whole Beatles sequence, Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds, et cetera, et cetera. So it's really funny how people get inspired by different things. I was talking with somebody today about where does your inspiration come from?
Well, and trust me, when Hip to Be Square gets released, we will hear some Huey Lewis and the News music played with it. That one's, I already have that queued up in Instagram, like that's ready to go.
Yep, absolutely. Absolutely. Well, it's been an absolute pleasure to talk with you. I'm just looking behind me at the little screen that we have below me on our deck, and all I see is design. I see imagine hats and cowls and sweaters, and seeing it in the full screen is different than looking at the bottom. It's just all like a kaleidoscope of color in there. I should say of black and white. It's absolutely fantastic. Thank you so much for joining us. I am about to pull a name from our sharing bucket, and I didn't take one last week, guys, so I'm going to pull 2 names. So when our fans share our posts and our page and all the things that we do, their name goes into a bucket, and we share back by pulling a name out of the bucket and sending them yarn and patterns and and needles, books. Nancy McClellan Ball is asking, would I show the cowl? Yeah, sure. Here, Nancy. So I'm going to hold that up a little. And then, so the hat and the cowl, and yep, Marcy has hers there on her mannequin. I was looking for a mannequin like that. Does that mannequin have like a half a chest?
Mm-hmm.
Couldn't find the rest of that. You're very
Amazon.
I was looking on Amazon. I will have to look again.
I can send you the link. I was very happy with this because it's good for cowls. Yeah. It's also good for a scarf.
And is it heavy? Is it weighted enough? Because sometimes the hats weigh it.
Oh no, it's very solid. Yeah.
Okay, good. Paul's reminding me about the sharing prize. Yes, my darling. Here we go. Let's see who's got our sharing prize this week. Oh, Anna Maria Milani, 2 weeks in a row, Anna. 2 weeks, Anna, and Julie Stark. Wow, congratulations, ladies. Yay. Anna's saying yay. I don't blame you, Anna. That's great. Well, thank you, Marcy, for joining us. I really appreciate you spending a little bit of your Monday evening with us. It's been a pleasure talking with you.
Thank you so much. And thank you, everybody who joined and commented. And feel free to reach out to me on social media or through Ravelry. I'm always happy to answer questions and to help.
Thank you. Jeannie McLean is saying, when will the new collection be released?
The first piece of the new collection, the hat that I showed, the hat from Hip, will be released on November 6th. The following week will be the cowl or the poncho. Sorry, I can't remember now. I queued all this stuff up for myself, but there'll be a cowl, there'll be a poncho, and then there'll be a sweater also, which I still have to knit, which I can't publish the pattern in until I have the sample finished. So.
And the whole Imagine collection is out now.
It is.
And they can find that on Ravelry under your name, Marci Marra.
Yes.
Perfect. Well, everybody, you are so welcome. Everybody's saying thank you. And we appreciate you being here. Thank you so much, Marcy. I'm sure you and I will be chatting very soon.
I look forward to it. Thank you.
Thank you so much.